fans, or whenever you're watching this. We here at the NaNN Network Podcast Network are about to assault you with a collection of random sports topics. So hang tough for this about hour and a half of gauntlet of commentary. I am the chief pundit of the team here, John Nielsen. To start us off on this breakthrough and the conquering of the topics, he is the voice of reason. Allegedly. Harry Broadhurst.
You might want to tell people the name of the show, John.
We're getting to that. Let him do his thing. Let him cook, as we say over on other shows on this network.
Cachorio.
Are you going to turn this into a hit and run?
We're about to get deep into the gimmicks already, and the show just started. Jeez Louise.
Welcome to 4 seconds. Want to fight about it?
Hey, you could say...
let's get ready to rumble!
First monkey show.
Yeah, Mr. HNIC of the NaNN over there. They have to do something about a monkey.
Please hold.
All right. Well, while he holds, hi everyone. Harry Broadhurst here once again. So yeah, we talked about it, we debated, and then we decided we wanted to talk about it and debate some more. Thus, the birth of 4 seconds. Above me, as you can see in your grid, the HNIC of the NANP and the DSDO, the anchorman. You know him. You love him. He's Eric Watkins.
And that gave me just long enough to...
Is that actually a record for the earliest monkey on a show?
I'm pretty sure it is. As we said on other shows on the network and referencing other shows, we were prepared for this. It's our very first episode. If you know, you know.
At least I don't have to produce shit.
So if you'll do us the favor of introducing the man on your visual right.
The one, the man, the myth, the sometimes disembodied legend, the one who gives us research face. His name is blue for a reason, Brian Espinoza.
And as you can see underneath my name, I will fight any of you motherfuckers on demand.
I mean, I'd be willing to fight too if my team just got crushed on the ice. Wait a minute, did I say that out loud?
Yes, you did.
And to that, I have this in retort.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
I am mad. My team won 2-1.
My team won 7-1. How can I be mad?
And you wonder why I woke up and chose violence.
Oh, the taglines are going to get used tonight, I'm sure, for those of you listening to the podcast instead of watching. You might miss some stuff tonight. Apologies in advance.
Where can people find this particular show at, Jonathan?
My name is not blue or red or anything like that. Where are we broadcasting? Almighty producers.
Neither's mine, and I know the answer to that.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll have to work with him on this one.
Wake up and choose violence.
It's twitch.tv/NaNN-Network-Pods, twitter.com/NaNN-Network-Pods, youtube.com.
Hold on. No. We got something for this. Please hold. I have to flip, but please hold. All right, let's do that again from the beginning.
Take 2.
Please.
Illegal motion on the read. Repeat network plug.
Did
Oh,
he actually bail?
Oh, jeez. Oh, great. And I can't even get my flag out for moments like this.
Oh, I got talked into
Twitch.tv/NaNN Network Pods. Twitter.com/NaNN Network Pods. YouTube.com/@NaNN Network Pods.
StreamYard froze. Sorry about that.
Oh, we thought you had actually legitimately rage quit on us. We were
No,
sitting here
StreamYard.
like we were sitting here like, oh God, what have we done?
We thought
No,
you would build Avante
We thought you
Davis
took a
on
5
us.
minute in the box.
No, StreamYard decided it wanted to be in its hole.
Is there a fourth stream?
There's 5.
No.
There
Not
are
that I'm
5
aware of.
channels that we are live on.
But you got the main 3, and that's what counts.
Yeah,
Well-
got all 3 periods covered.
Yeah, the other Deezer and at Squid Sports Head on Twitter, no?
Beat me to the button. Good job.
It's like you're in my head.
The-
You should be careful where you walk right now.
You are telling me that after the conversations we've had, and after
All right,
a certain thing that you haven't even mentioned yet from Sunday?
If you were able to see out of my eyes, you would see certain things, and we're going to leave it at that.
So tonight's opening topic, pilot episode.
Yeah, really. Know it, love it, get used to it. Hopefully the format gets better because we're going to try like how to make it happen.
All right, I'm going to go upload that to 4 seconds real quick. I'll be
All
right
right.
back.
So-
What am I doing? How did I get talked into doing a 4th show? 5th show.
Hey, for me, it's a
7th
second show. I'll take that right now.
7th show. 9th.
I said that
I don't even know how
exact-
many fucking shit we're
I
up to.
said that exact same thing on the Discord.
Yeah,
How
well,
many shows am I up to? Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
hey, if this survives, but wait, there's more.
4. This is 5.
Oh,
This is
Christ.
show number 5. Oh,
But
5.
wait, there's more.
Yeah, we have that too.
So
I am just going to sit back and sip my coffee.
Of course you will.
So who wants to go on deck here with their topic of the evening? Because I think there's only one of us that doesn't
We
have
have
an
a group
idea
topic
right now.
to discuss first.
I think we've sorted okay. I figured pilot show, we're just, rambling
He
about
doesn't
stuff.
even remember the format of his own damn show.
Yes, and I'm looking at the notes. I'm looking at the darn notes. Opening group conversation, anything goes, topic to be agreed upon in advance. But did we agree
Which is the
upon?
Super Bowl because we discussed. Oh my God.
I thought we were not supposed to be talking about the superb owl because it was
We
a
are-
topic on a future film.
We are minimally discussing it on this show because we will have the full deep dive into the Superb Owl parlay later this week on BWSR. Certain people involved with this show aren't involved in BWSR, so this was their opportunity to discuss it. Such as the person to my right.
Yeah. You mean the salty fan whose team ain't in it? No surprise because we haven't been in the game.
Okay.
since
I'm done with the
1969.
digs. I'm done with the digs.
No, you're probably not. And yeah. I mean, look, I've done plenty of things once that I won't shut up about. But even then, that's an entirely different story.
No, the me doing the digs there reminds me. Have you ever seen that clip from The Simpsons of Moe hooked up to the lie detector, and they're questioning him about him shooting Mr. Burns, and at
Yep.
the very end, he's like, "I'm gonna go home and ogle the ladies in the Victoria's Secret catalog."
Sears
Sears
catalog.
catalog.
Hey, I don't deserve
this kind of shabby. I don't deserve this kind of shabby treatment.
Yeah. Super Bowl, I'm just in it for the commercials this year.
I mean, lest we forget, and again, I talked about this a little bit beforehand on last week's BWSR, the way that they're approaching the history, plus it's set to be only the fourth Superb Owl ever with a spread of under 2 points. I am impressed.
Is he really holding up an empty Pepsi bottle? Does he not know? Este parte de nuestro programa estás presentado por Inca Cola, la cola dorada.
They don't advertise on the Superb Owl.
Well, I mean, maybe they should, especialmente por los espectadores hispanohablantes.
I didn't do it, Harry. I'm not the one speaking.
Harry, where's that button? You need that button you have.
¿Qué botón? No tenemos un botón de stop for this some bitch.
I'm not the one speaking Spanish, Harry.
I love you guys. I hate you guys.
You can't get mad at me.
Just remember around here, we don't get mad. We get even.
Unfortunately, Harry Broadhurst will no longer be joining us this evening.
He's having some technical difficulties, so please stand by.
So, are we ready to start the first topic of the evening?
Yeah, sure. Why don't you get the jabbing?
Because there is somebody who had a rough time this weekend at the NHL's All-Star event.
That shit was rigged.
And I'm talking about the Anaheim Ducks mascot. See, when you're in a hockey game and you're in the net, you're supposed to stay in the net so you can block some shots. What you're not supposed to do is be out there just generally in the defensive zone, leaving your net wide open for every single shot, rebound, etc. to go right in and be lit up by the entire Eastern Conference. I mean, if you go and actually watch the game, All-Star Game mascot showdown, I'm talking about the ice hockey game, not the dodgeball game. Because, of course, everybody remembers 7B's of dodgeball, right? Or is that movie too old a reference? But yeah, if you have the opportunity, go ahead. You can pull up the entire thing on YouTube. You can watch these mascots go at it on the ice. The East just wiped the floor with the West. The actual All-Star games, all right, pretty close overall. I didn't get a chance to watch them, admittedly. Sorokin did do a
Man, even his internet, he tried to actually good mouth the Islanders, and they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah,
if you haven't heard, Spectrum is having issues across the entire state of Florida and have been all day.
And where are three of us in the state of Florida?
Yeah, but I don't have Spectrum.
Consider yourself fortunate tonight.
Emphasis on tonight.
But I suppose the highlight for me of the NHL All-Stars can be summed up by the Animaniacs in 2 words. Hello, nurse. If I can get a screen share once I get it prepared.
This is a family show? Question mark?
No, he's legit. I'm going to let him cook. I know what he's making.
I'm talking about an Olympian by the name of Sarah Nurse.
Canadian Olympian brother Darnell plays for the Edmonton Oilers.
All right, pull it up.
And of course, there's no sound. Fed that pass perfectly to him. And here was the 3-on-0. I kept saying, with a lot of the 2 and 3-on-0s, they got way too greedy with the extra pass. And now you're muted.
Unfortunately, I can't pull up the clip for the portion I really want because Canadian and blocked in the U.S. Unfortunately, I do not have a VPN available. That Forsberg on Shesterkin. Mwah.
I thought it was Shesterkin.
Apologies.
It
I'm
is
not an expert at
Shesterkin.
pronunciations.
Thought so.
But those were some slick moves. So, gentlemen, I'll open up the floor to you. All-star events, are they what they're worth and cracked up to be? Or are they just overrated hype?
All right, I'll go ahead and go first here. So my issue with the overall All-Star games is most of the players that are in them don't take them seriously. And the reason they don't take them seriously is because they're glorified exhibitions. The problem is the one sport that tried to put stakes on their All-Star games went about it the entirely wrong way by having Major League Baseball decide hosting home field advantage in the World Series with theirs. No, that's stupid. That's way too much for too many people that aren't going to be involved in that series. I think some kind of monetization and then some kind of actual representation towards the version of the game that they're supposed to be playing. Football can be an exception because football is a very physical sport, and these guys don't want to get hurt playing an exhibition game.
Flag football.
I think Eric enjoyed the flag football games.
Eric is biased to enjoy the flag football games, though.
I will explain to.
I'm flowing the red. I'm flowing a biased flag here.
Oh, I will explain my position on those when I get to my topic later in the show. But I'm not going to deny my bias either.
Okay, back to my response to John here. Yeah, I think the problem for me is that by and large the All-Star games are overhyped because they don't actually resemble the sport with which they're supposed to resemble. Brian?
To which I just obligatorily have to say, to quote the great Ed Hockley, yes, there are penalties in the Pro Bowl.
You know you had to see that coming.
Yes, but he stole my line, so I'm not sure how I feel about this.
I steal lines. That's what I do.
I mean, is he wrong, ladies and gentlemen? The Chiron says no. As for... I think it's a shtick. Since, we're on gimmicks, right? That's what Pro Bowl games and All-Star games and these sorts of things are. They're sticks, right? They're there to... I'm going to borrow an esports term here, sort of. I hear it more used in esports. They're there to create brands for players.
So basically, if you're on the wrong side of things, would you consider yourself unlucky?
I mean, you could consider yourself unlucky if you end up on the wrong side of things, sure. but I'm not going to go to the Faker level of unlucky and, sit here and say that, oh, you didn't make it to the Pro Bowl, you're screwed, right? Like, there are plenty of players out there who can create a brand, plenty of teams out there who can figure out how to showcase their talent without having to send players to the Pro Bowl or anything. But at the end of the day, I think that's all it is. It's a gimmick intended to publicize certain players, because let's think about, at least for the NFL, right? Let's think about the Pro Bowl selection. How is the Pro Bowl selected? Effectively, it's a popularity contest, right? The Pro Bowl is voted on by the players and by, I believe, to some extent, team coaches and owners. But it's like 95% the players.
And fans.
So if there's somebody who is, particularly popular, for lack of a better term, somebody who has, to steal a Madden term, developed an X factor, right? Yeah, this is what happens when I wake up and choose violence. I'm actually on my shit. And would you believe I'm playing a game of League of Legends in the background while being on this point?
Gee!
Not surprised.
I could never have seen that happening. I'm shocked. Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
Usually I don't put together these cogent of arguments when I'm playing something in the background, though.
Lord knows how I know with so many nights a point of view. Or wait a minute, did I say that?
Family show, perhaps.
But wrapping up my point, Pro Bowl, All-Star games, etc., it's a gimmick. It's an advertising gimmick. It's a player promotion gimmick. That's what it is at the end of the day. Because, and I'm going to point to one major example, this year's NFL Pro Bowl. They finally done something that they've more or less essentially been alluding to for the past forever, and turning it into an actual flag football game. Because, as was mentioned, I believe Harry said it. I'm sorry, I don't remember which one of you said it. That the players don't want to get hurt. So that effect, when you play a game for absolutely zero stakes, that's exactly what happens. It becomes a gimmick.
Do they even get a trip to Hawaii?
In some cases, those gimmicks are so badly panned that they don't
How badly panned are they?
That they don't even deserve to have Castor Jude yell at them and tell them they're unlucky, like this.
You unlucky!
And that's my point.
Now, look, I'm going to somewhat allude to my grander topic in gimmicks in sports, but to kind of focus on really the monetization aspect. If you look at that, that's really brought more of a punch for what the NHL has done. The winning team in their tournament format splits $1 million. In the NBA, there's
splits
$1 million.
Thank you.
In the NBA, your winning teams get like $250,000 towards their charity. So you have that monetized competitive aspect. And yes, it's a glorified exhibition. I will gladly agree. However, if you were to look at what a lot of the players would want, a lot of the fans would want, for example, the NHL, they asked a lot of all-star players, what would you do as far as rule changes and everything? First thing that came out of their mouths, change the shootout, extend the 3-on-3 overtime for the regular season, make it 10 minutes. Oh, by the way, periods are 10 minutes in the all-star game. Look at the NBA. What was brought up the most that is spread to the basketball tournament and is going to be trialed, if it hasn't already been, in the G League. The Elam ending, eliminating time wasting and needless fouls at the end of games. So there's a lot of stuff brought about from these exhibitions that is often used, or at least considered one way or another, in the regular course of play. So they bring about quite a bit to evolutions of the sports proper themselves.
You're muted.
The issue that I see with that is how far away do we veer from the original sport to still consider it part of the standard status quo for it? Like you mentioned, the Elam ending. I get that works in something like a Big Three or something like a basketball tournament or something like an All-Star game. That doesn't work for a regular season basketball game. That doesn't work for a playoff basketball game.
I'm actually, in some ways, really going to disagree with that. If you go back, what are some of the most memorable moments, even in the NBA Finals? 2016, the block leading to Kyrie Irving's game winner with the Miami Heat. Ray Allen draining that corner three. It's all about, okay, these hyped up, deciding moments in the final seconds, rather than, oh, this extra foul or time wasting dribbling up the court. If you can get that kind of intensity that you've seen for the Elam ending just in the last couple of All-Star games, you add that to a much smaller, originally intended Elam ending extent for an NBA game, it's going to catch on like wildfire. Blowouts would end a lot earlier, and the closer games, how many people would be hyped up about more game-winning shots?
I'm going to disagree with you in the fact that I think you're going to stray too far away from the game for traditionalists.
It might actually get me to watch basketball again.
And you say this for traditionalists, that's fine. But, okay, prime example, what is the NBA trying to do? NFL, and what are people complaining about for a lot of sports? The traditionalists are getting old. You got to capture new generation. You have new attention spans. You have new media. You want those fresh advertising and revenue dollars. I'm sorry. That's not going to lie within your traditionalists.
All right, I will agree with the fact that we are trying to advertise to a newer generation now, and especially one that we've talked about before, whose attention span isn't what a previous generations might have been.
Mm-hmm.
Just to that point, I have not watched a NBA basketball game since the one I watched in person around the year 2000, I want to say, when the Knicks at home were blown out by the Denver Nuggets.
He said Nuggets!
I beat you to that one, Eric.
I know.
Mind you, I'm part of that generation that grew up playing NBA Jam Tournament Edition, too. And I'm very salty against the dynasty that was the Chicago Bulls as a legit Knicks fan.
All right, does anybody have anything else to add about the All-Star games here, or are we ready for our next group topic?
Actually, I got a question involving All-Star games. What does MLS do?
What they used to do in the early days, it was East versus West. Then a couple of times
Isn't it MLS versus Team USA right now?
No, it used to be MLS versus Team USA in World Cup years. Then over the last decade or so, they've gone up against foreign teams, inviting in as having them as part of the preseason tour. But for the last couple of seasons, it has been MLS All-Stars versus the All-Stars from Liga MX in Mexico.
Well, I heard there was a talk about potentially combining the two leagues in order to make like a North American Super League.
There has still have been those talks. Those talks have been quieted a bit, although ahead of the 2026 World Cup here in North America, expect those to renew. Plus, with the brand new Leagues Cup later this year, there will be more talk around that as well.
Cool. I'd say MLS is doing it right.
I mean, it would be kind of curious to see like USA versus the world and other in other sports, like the Hockey All-Star Game, because I know for a while they think they did that, USA versus the world.
They did. They actually also do that more often in minor hockey leagues. They had, I want to say
Maybe
it
like
was
the
ECHL.
ECHL, yeah, the East Coast Hockey
Mhm.
League.
Yep, they had a Canada versus Planet USA. So you still have those kind of things. Plus, for the Rising Stars Challenge for a while, and I believe it's
Right,
still the
I remember
format,
that.
USA
Because
versus the world.
I remember Dylan Larkin participating in that, like in his first year in the league.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, NHL like does it. So that definitely could still be a thing for some different leagues.
All right. Anything else on the topic, John, or are we ready to move on?
If I can get a ding, time is up. Of course, I can't get a ding.
He's working on it.
There we go. Next week.
All right, I'll go ahead. The audio clips are throwing off my computer, and it's starting to irritate me. I don't know why. It's causing me to run really slow, and I apologize if my reactions are delayed because of it. All right, so
Spectrum.
Here's mine. I have Spectrum as well, so here's mine for the week, guys, and I think you guys will be interested in this one here. Go ahead and yep, Nielsen. There you go. All right. So it's February as we record this pilot, very early into February. And it got me thinking about championships. The Superb Owl is next week, technically this Sunday coming as we record this. And we're starting to get towards the playoff chases in sports like the National Hockey League, the National Basketball Association. Meanwhile, pitchers and catchers are about to start reporting in baseball as well, which means the fight for the 2023 pennant will soon be underway as well. All of this talk about the four major sports combining around these forces around this time, in addition to the sports equinox that we talked about last year on the BWSR episodes, it got me thinking about which of the championship formats is the best. And I think that this would be an interesting topic to bring to the group as a discussion. Since this is my picked topic of choice for this episode, I get to go first. And I'm going to throw out March Madness as my selection. And the reason I'm going to throw out March Madness as my selection is because even the most casual of college basketball fans is going to fill out a bracket and watch along. Is going to catch games at the office with their coworkers in order to see how their bracket is doing. The diehard fans are going to spend anywhere from 6 to 8 to 12 hours in a restaurant or a bar watching games. Myself, Eric, I know has done it before, noon to midnight, that opening Thursday and Friday of the NCAA tournament. Straight through with no break. Only pausing long enough to get something to eat, something to drink, or use the restroom. I have gone straight through on both days, watching every game in its entirety to the best of my ability. Multiple screening things at time as well. Tablet, computer, television, cell phone. Literally, I could have all four games up at once if I wanted to. I love the World Series, but I think we take too long to get there. I think there are too many teams in MLB's postseason. There is nothing more exciting to me in sports than Game 7 of an NHL series. It's games 1 through 6 that can kind of be a problem. The NBA has too many games, period, to get to its championship. Because, yes, while you make sure that you give the marquee teams the best chances in a best of 7, one of the things that makes March Madness so special is that one and done, win or you're out mentality that carries over through the entire tournament. The NFL has that same mentality, but on a much smaller scale because of the amount of teams that make the NFL postseason. Now, granted, I'm not advocating for NFL expansion because I frankly think there are too many teams that make the NFL postseason as it is right now. That's a debate for an entire another day. But that one and done mentality that the NFL and college basketball have in common, and will soon have in common with the college football playoff as well. We'll have to see how the 12 team plays out before I can issue an official decision on that. It gives me the idea that those kind of formats, the one and dones, that anything can happen, makes them just so much more exciting than your traditional best of 7 series. My official answer to my question is March Madness is the best way we crown a champion here in the U.S. for sports. I take the question to the group now. Mr. Espinoza, I start with you. Which championship crowning is your favorite? Unmute yourself, please.
Okay, so I was gonna say it's like I saw the shaking of the head. So
he's there now.
Like, no, I will not unmute myself at all whatsoever because I don't know that I'm muted. That's a good question, actually.
I thought that was a good one to bring to the table for the first show.
I have to agree with you that every sport has its moments in its, race for a championship. I think, and it might sound stereotypically cliche if you want it to, but I think the NFL actually does the best job. Because if you look at it on paper, the NFL resembles, at least to me, most closely resembles a traditional bracket style tournament.
Well, March Madness is a literal bracket, but
I mean, you could argue that the NFL postseason is also a literal bracket.
with one major exception, though, the NFL reseeds, March Madness does not.
March Madness, to me, has always been on the north end of slightly too complicated.
I'm curious.
And by slightly too complicated, I also take that in to be slightly too big, too long. You can kind of, I think you can kind of take your pick there.
Shut up, Watkins.
No, Watkins, we do not need commentary on that. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at. Like, just quickly thinking about it, I'd have to go to the NFL. I think that it's like it's the perfect length of time for a postseason. It still resembles a traditional format, like a bracket format to me. So that's kind of where I'm gonna lean to on answering that question. Now, like I said, you're not wrong at all whatsoever. There are plenty of epic moments to be had in, a game 7 of an NHL finals, a Stanley finals, right? I'm not the biggest baseball fan in the world, so that's not my cup of tea. I feel like if you're playing a long regular season, especially in certain sports like NHL, NBA, baseball, pretty much anything other than the NFL, where a team is expected to play 50, 60, whatever, like a high amount of games, right? If you've played that high amount of games and you have gotten to the point where you have made it into the off season, your off season should be short, sweet, and to the point, which I think is what the NFL gets right. I'm not saying get rid of the, like best of 7 format or anything like that, but I feel like some sports off seasons could stand to be trimmed down a little bit.
I think the only one that should be best of 7 is the championship series. Like, to me, in basketball, baseball, and hockey, you could probably do a best of 5 in everything except for the championship series and be okay. Because the cream's going to rise to the crop in a best of 5 series. And if a team can hold out for a best of 5 in order to take down a bigger foe, then so much the better for them. They happen to get hot at the right time, and it was probably going to happen in a best of 7 anyways. Mr. Watkins, what's your answer for the question?
Now, when I look at a question like this, and I'm just going to call myself out here, as an amateur professor in all things bracketology in different formats, with an assistant here over to my screen right, I happen to know a thing or two about this. And I look at the format of not just the postseasons in particular, but the regular seasons themselves. And I think, what do I look at in a totality? And I say, no notes. And to me, that's the NFL. For the NBA, and I have formulae for this, when you take the number of regular season games, divide that by 3, that is roughly the maximum or expectation of what you should be able to play as a single team to go ahead and complete your postseason. When it comes to number of teams in your league, on average, you go ahead and divide by 2. You should be able to divide by no more than 4. So I take these into consideration. The NFL, I'm not going to entirely say no notes. Do I mind the 14-team playoff format? No, I do not. Would I have preferred a 12-team format and sticking with this? I absolutely would have. Your top 2 teams get your buys. Everybody else fight it out. 2 wild cards in a 4-division format. I was absolutely fine with that. For the NBA, yeah, you have 4 best of 7 series, but I honestly think the regular season is a bit too long and a bit too taxing on top of that. You trim it down to a 58, 66 game schedule, make those first 3 rounds best of 5. More palatable regular season, and that would sharpen for a better playoff format, especially because when you have too much of a swing and dominance, Eastern Conference makes a run, Western Conference makes a run, back and forth, you already know, okay, these teams are going to be going ahead for the title. Yes, you have to earn an upset in a best of 7 series. But very rarely do you get, outside of finals, great best of 7 series all time. I mean, not every series is going to be like Boston versus Chicago. But you put those in best of 5 environments, okay. NHL, really the same thing. You trim that down to, again, a 58, 66 game schedule. Make your first 3 rounds best of 5. Keep your Stanley Cup Finals best of 7. That would be perfect. And in another special tweak just for the NHL, go back to the playoff format that you had from 1983 to 1993. You have 4 balanced divisions. You have a 16-team playoff. You really want to develop playoff rivalries like you do? Make the first 2 rounds divisional. I see you shaking your head, but trust me. St. Louis and Chicago, Boston, Montreal, some of your original 6 teams, more battles of Alberta. You're already close to that with some of the wild cards. Hey, if you're a weaker team, so be it.
That's where I'm going with. I think having the wild card spots for the final 2 spots rewards the teams that play best in order to get into the postseason at the end of the regular season. So your idea of going 4 from every division doesn't work for me. For example, if you look at the NHL playoffs right now, the 4th team in the Atlantic Division would not make the postseason. The 5th team in the Metro would.
Okay. I get that, but again, 1991 Minnesota North Stars, you have a wild card format. They don't do half of what they're able to do and why they are remembered the way they're remembered right now. That does not happen.
But you're sacrificing better quality teams for that moment is my point.
Yes, but do you know how deep that of a run that was? And you talk about better quality teams. The Chicago Blackhawks were the President's Trophy winners. Minnesota beat them in the first round.
I don't disagree that it sets up for upsets inside of divisional rivalries, and we see those series get heated. I'm not disagreeing with you in that regard. And I think you still kind of get that with your 2 versus 3 matchups that we get in each division in the postseason these days.
Right. So if you're giving it halfway, why not go all hog? And again, when you had your mismatched conferences, when you had those, I was completely fine with it. But now with expansion, you don't. Damn it, Bettman, what gives? And again, you're also appealing, as you said, to some of those traditionalists. Not all of them, but you throw them a little bit of a bone while spicing everything else up. That's a good compromise.
So you're with the Super Bowl, Brian's or the NFL. Brian's with the NFL. Brian's with the NFL as well. I say March Madness. John, you got the final vote in this conversation. What do you think is the best way to crown a champion in the major sports in the United States?
Eric, as you could see, I was very on board with your talks with the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Equal balance, yes. Foster those local rivalries. And teams like the Hartford Whalers might still be around today.
Had some pretty epic series against the Boston in those Patrick Division matchups back in the day.
Even with my Isles on a rare occasion, too. Ugh. It's like the NHL equivalent of the AFC East beating up on itself every year. MLB, too damn long.
Oh, yeah. The MLB season can easily be cut to about 100 games, and then you keep the postseason format as it is right now.
And you can get a game that goes into, like, double length. Because I think I mentioned on one of the other shows, there was one time I watched a Met game when I lived in New York, and that was a big mistake. Tuned in the top of the 8th inning. It went to 16 innings.
Mets Cardinals went 22. It was literally Saturday baseball during the day. It's like the afternoon time slot. By the time that game ended, all right, time for Mad TV Saturday night.
That's why you could trim some of the MLB showdowns down to even, I would say the best idea is take them, all these games are best of 7, whatnot. Progress it by round. Let your wild card round be a best of 3. Then progress to best of 5. Then your finals best of 7.
That's how they have it now.
Yeah, but apply that everywhere. Mind you, I love seeing my Islanders go to a Game 7 against the Lightning. Because, that's just more opportunities for the identity line to get a couple punches in there. I do like seeing the showdown of Florida go to
you and identity lines, I swear.
Because, we know about El Presidente's and their luck in the playoffs.
Fucking Colorado Avalanche.
Fuck the goddamn the Colorado Avalanche.
But there's an event that starts its championship run from the very beginning. And I will take this podcast on a rogue turn and talk about NASCAR.
Okay.
What a
Okay.
There's
No,
way-
No.
Season,
We're
baby.
really going to let him cook on this one.
Just throwing an oddball out there.
Okay, so when you say the NASCAR, and for the uneducated, let me, because this will also kind of dovetail in my topic, and of all people, you wouldn't expect me to talk about NASCAR.
My parents live one county away from Daytona.
Yeah, I've been there. Not since they renovated the place, but I've been there. So, you have what is a 26 race regular season. You win a race, you are guaranteed into the NASCAR playoffs. Otherwise, it's decided by points. You first have your round of 16, 3 races. Again, win, you're guaranteed to advance. Of those racers in the top 16, you get a different point total, so that way there's no chicanery. Top 12 advance. Then your round of 12, then your round of 8, and now your final 4, which used to be in Homestead, now in Phoenix. One race, whoever crosses the line amongst those 4 drivers first, bam, that is your NASCAR champion. That, I admit, the first couple of years after they did it, it was a little bit clunky. But since they simplified their points system so it was easier to keep track, added the incentive for winning races, I ain't mad.
They evolved it to the point where you don't need a math degree to figure it out.
Yes. And I ain't mad.
Didn't expect that one, did you?
All right. He cooked, and I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you still kind of need a math degree in some aspects of the season, but
Only when they introduce the points for the different stages of the race.
Whoa. Some NFL playoff tiebreaker scenarios?
I mean, I don't disagree. It comes down to that in other sports as well. Like, let's not forget the need for a game 163 in Major League Baseball on multiple occasions.
Yeah, about that.
Hey, better than deciding the playoff spot where a cornerstone franchise got eliminated on goals scored. Yeah, that happened in the NHL once.
Or we almost had the NFL coin flip.
Seriously, if that would have went through and happened, I'd have walked. Especially
there would have been
if I'm Cincinnati,
riots.
If I'm Cincinnati and I lose home field on a coin flip, I'd have walked.
I'm gonna say something that sounds a little bit fucked up here, and I'm sorry in advance, but there would have been Rodney King level riots.
The views and opinions of Brian Espinosa do not necessarily reflect the rest of the
Hold please. We have a thing for this. Thing for this.
Watch. Hold on.
Not that bad.
Yeah, these are wet wipes, and I'm washing my hands of that statement.
All right, it wouldn't have been that bad, but the riots.
That's a minor. That's a minor right there.
All right, well, you'll pass the "Are you awake?" check. No,
I think there's one person left for the topic tonight now.
No, Eric hasn't done his with shticks and with gimmicks in sports.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Eric,
allow me to very quickly clarify my
We're running
thoughts
a little
here.
over on this topic, but
we
continue the thought.
We wouldn't see Rodney King level riots, but I mean, there would definitely be a LCS segment gone wrong level of outrage on social media.
Oh, the cringe would have been real. Well played, sir. Well played.
Almost as cringy as the original take there.
Oh no, this gets even cringier. We'll talk about that on Parallel Convergence tomorrow night.
Yeah, y'all want to hear Andesian's take on this whole TSM segment bullshit? Boy, do I have a show for you. And if you tune in tomorrow, I'm not going to make you pay $120 for this show, not $110, not $100. No, I'm going to make you pay 3 easy payments of $33.33.
Denied.
All right, the next time y'all motherfuckers infringe on a gimmick, I'm coming down with the hammer hard.
Hey, you just got denied a monkey. We let you finish the gimmick.
Mr. Watkins, I believe I am done for my topic for the week. And now I cede the floor to you.
Speaking of gimmicks, segue.
I'm going to punch him.
So, we've mentioned all-star events when we've mentioned the gimmicks. And this weekend in particular really got me thinking, as we've had our NHL all-star game, we had the NFL and their Pro Bowl games, we had NASCAR at the Clash of the Coliseum, and we're approximately 2 weeks away-ish, a little under, from the NBA all-star game. And what do they have in common? They're all dramatically different. But in my mind, as much as we talk about these sorts of gimmicks in sports and everything else, we enjoy them one way or another more than we would like to admit. Because everybody was talking about, getting rid of like the patty cake elements of the Pro Bowl and all this and that. You go ahead and have the reimagined Pro Bowl games. And yes, I'm going to admit, I enjoyed the flag football elements to a large point, simply because I referee flag football on the weekends, and the rules were very similar to the kind of flag football I referee. My only minor notes with that is either go American Flag Football League style and go for the full field 7-on-7, or keep the shorter field and go 5-on-5 like I referee. This sort of a hybrid thing like they had. It took some of the good elements from both of them, but it didn't necessarily 100% mesh to me. And I was someone who enjoyed it. With the NBA All-Star Game, with the fourth quarter Elam ending and the tributes and everything, again, perfect move, chef's kiss. You still get the in-game dunk contest at the showtime, but then right at the end, everything gets real. For the NHL All-Star Game, which finally, on home ice, Atlantic Division, thank you very much, Matthew Tkachuk, MVP, as it should have been. Now, granted, the skills competition, the breakaway challenge, that was rigged, but I'll digress. They wound up taking the title.
I told you shit was rigged.
Look, I was right there with you. We got the win, all of that, in a good game, too, 7-5. And yes, ABC and the broadcast with ESPN leaning into a little bit of the gambling aspects as well. Which divisions were favored in game, total number of goals for each one. When they went to that 3-on-3 tournament, I thought that was perfect. You get more excitement and more drama than even the traditional old school 5-on-5 game. And the Clash at the Coliseum. I only have a small note in the fact that I didn't like the increase in the number of cars for the feature. It was 23. They upped it to 27, and there were a lot of cautions. And when you're dealing with a quarter-mile short track to where at most your cars are only able to go 3 wide, expect a lot of cautions. The only thing that I will say to that in the future is that they need to limit that to 20. But my thing is with this. Am I going to watch a typical NASCAR race or something like the Clash of the Coliseum? The Clash. But you give me short tracks, you give me road courses, something different than your traditional ovals. I'm fine with it. NBA games. Will I watch something in the playoffs? Yes. Will I watch a regular season game? Not entirely. I am all in on All-Star Weekend, the celebrity game, young stars, the reinvented All-Star game itself. That draws me in because of the differences. NHL, I am more prone to watch during regular season and playoffs. Bit of extra skin in the game. But I was so thankful that I could also see the NHL skills competition and the All-Star game. And it didn't conflict with anything with the Pro Bowl games or anything else. Even with sports I love, I embrace the various levels of gimmickry more often. And I think more fans are of that belief too. So I open it up to everybody. Are these extra gimmicks worth it? Does it bring that little extra kitsch to draw your eyeballs to screens?
Who's starting?
Mr. Nielsen. I sense some enthusiasm with him, so.
This does overlap with a lot of what I said before with the All-Star games. I would almost say extracurriculars within that sport. For NFL, the Combine. That could also be thrown into the mix here. It's extra footage for that sport that's not necessarily your average game of the week. More diverse things to view. And I'll admit, I will still tune in for a frickin' dunk contest. Because that's just awesome. That's a classic. Goes all the way back to what I was watching in the 90s. But also, gotta love the three-point contest, too. Big John Starks fan as I was back in the day. Even Reggie Miller fan, because my secondary team, actually, in the NBA, is the Pacers. Fun fact.
That feels so wrong on so many levels.
That is sacrilege, sir. Sacrilege, I say.
I say this about basketball instead of about MLB. I dig the long ball.
Somewhere Spike Lee is disowning you.
Just when you think you know a guy.
I'm a Jets fan. I suffer enough already. I don't need the Knicks suffering to add to that pile anymore.
Oh, yeah, and the Pacers have won a title since 1973.
Okay, maybe I am a glutton for punishment.
Marked.
But yeah, bring on the gimmicks. And honestly, I would say use your preseasons and your all-star games to experiment with new rules to make the game better. That's really what I like to see in the all-star games. Use them as the experiment instead of, we're going to try this new overtime rule in the regular season, but it's not going to apply to playoffs. NFL is still the no-fun league. That's all I got to say about that.
Pick your follow-up, John. Pilot show, people. We're still working out the kinks.
My follow-up.
Who's the next person to speak on the topic?
Go ahead, Harry.
I honestly think you would be better off in All-Star Weekend for all of the major sports if you just tuned in for the gimmickry for them. NHL Skills Challenge, MLB with the Home Run Derby, and the celebrity softball games. NBA All-Star Saturday with the dunk contest, the 3-point contest, and the young guns game. Because most of those players that are playing in the NBA All-Star game really don't want to be there. Whereas those young guns are looking at this as an opportunity to make their name to a much larger marquee audience. The Pro Bowl, you're looking at the skills challenge as well.
It's like I said some of this stuff earlier.
I'm reiterating in addition to expanding. Go back to your game. Anyways.
Ow! That burn might have landed on the other side of the wall.
Fuck you, Harry Broadhurst.
I know, because we don't even have the shots fired in here yet. Damn, that would have been perfect.
Anyways, back to what I was saying here. So I'm almost saying that instead of actually playing the All-Star games, that primetime audience that you're getting on network television, that ABC audience or NBC audience or CBS audience or whichever one that happens to be, more often than not ABC because of ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
But advertise your, like Brian was saying earlier, advertise your stars by showcasing them in fun experiments to give fans an idea of what these guys are capable of. And if you think it's cool seeing them do this in this format, imagine what it'll be like seeing them playing what they're actually good at.
Absolutely.
It'll encourage people to go watch the regular season games, to get hooked on the playoff games, to start paying money to go see to their local experiences and see, hey, I want to see this live because it looks really cool in the presentation. Hell, you know what you can do for entertainment at NBA games? Have a couple of fans come out and do a free throw contest or a 3-point contest during games. More and more teams need to bring back that length of the puck car shot, because I know that was like one of the most exciting moments of the live game. It was like when they would do the thing where you had to try to shoot the puck through the little cut board in the goal, and you would win like a car or like $10,000. The half court shot in basketball, that was always a big thing there too. I want to see NBA All-Stars putting up a half court shot contest. Now, granted, that seems unfair with Steph Curry because the dude's like the cheat code, but still the point being is it would be fun to see you pick a team of 5 Western Conference players, a team of 5 Eastern Conference players. Most half-court shots nailed in a minute wins. And they go back-to-back, they circle around. You come up with new gimmicks. You come up with new ideas. You come up with new ways to fill the time that you would give to your traditional All-Star game while still making it fun for the people in attendance and fun for the players participating without having to go through the rigors of what they're doing during the regular season. Mr. Espinosa, the floor is yours.
I agree with that so much that it actually derailed my train of thought. Can I pass to Eric while I regain it?
He's already went.
I did forget one thing that I would say is probably the best gimmick I have seen in an actual game.
Okay, we can go to John for that while you take a second to regain yourself. Go ahead, John.
Doug Flutie's drop kick.
I have actually.
Go ahead, Eric. You know what I'm talking about.
Not just that I know what you're talking about. You know how I have ideas for revamping things. I have a whole thread similar that I dedicated to cricket for football. Yes, the drop kick is center stage in special teams. Seriously, it needs to come back.
So here's an idea. You know how the CFL has the Rouge?
Yes.
If a punter puts a punt through the upright, it's worth 1 point.
Score got me for days.
I feel like that would be a blast, wouldn't it? I mean, I think the NFL should induct the Rouge anyways, just because it adds more excitement to the game.
Oh, and there was a CFL game.
Speaking of CFL games, Eric, I sent you a TikTok the other day.
Yeah. Imagine this, and I think Brian is ready. Final play of the game. It's tied. In this case, it was 30-30. You're going ahead. You're lining up. You've got a legendary kicker going ahead, which should be a relatively chip shot in front of a somewhat raucous crowd away from home. He's lining up. Okay. Kick is up. It misses. It's wide right. A familiar feeling to some on the show. However, instead of the traditional sadness, yeah, I had to mention that obligatorily. Instead of the traditional sadness and bemoanment in the team celebrating, a member of the opposing team picks it up. Fire drill. It's like hot potato. Get this out of my hand. Punts it out of the back of the end zone. It clears. The play is still live. Wait a minute. The kicker is the punter too? Thank you very much. Doink. Punts it right back into the end zone. Wait a minute. We can't let this happen. The other team scrambles around, tries to kick it out of the end zone. It's a little dribbler. The team who was originally lining up for the field goal falls on it. The refs come in. They sort out the pile. It's a touchdown. Game is over. Amidst the chaos comes one of the greatest moments and was the subject of one of my first ever tweets way back in 2010.
Check the private chat, Eric.
Yeah. As a matter of fact...
Are you? Remember, they're slowing down my computer, so trying to watch it right now probably won't work for me.
Oh, no. What I'm going to do, I am going to send it in the comments so that way people can enjoy. Because
alternatively, you could also send it out.
I don't normally call it timeout, but Eric, Nielsen Ratings topic selection is kind of narrow this month. Hint,
on.
Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Retrospective.
Okay. I think I see what you're getting at.
I think I see somebody trying to plug his own podcast in the middle of this one. That's what I see.
Look. Okay.
What else is new?
Look.
It's not I heard about hosted 2 shows down this network.
Look, not everybody wants to watch the gloriousness of Point of Viewer on Sunday nights.
God
with
damn it,
special
Watkins.
added value. Somebody wants once a month the refresher of the Nielsen ratings. Can you blame the man?
The Rage Quit is looking funner and funner.
I would almost say the difference is as clear as Broader Pocket Sports Report.
Sports in black and white.
I went off this planet.
Look, if you want to go ahead and leave, I mean, there's plenty of the places on Summoner's Rift, and we'll discuss that on Parallel Convergence here Tuesdays on the NaNN Network.
Did you come up with? You got your topic ready, Brian?
All I gotta say is sometimes life is like a game show. And we've done the full set.
Spoiler alert! No, we haven't.
God damn it! That would actually pop me, motherfucker.
Eric, I hate you.
On occasion, I feel the same.
Because a topic that we'll be going into in detail tomorrow night on Parallel Convergence here on the NaNN Network Podcast Network, available over Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and more. Because, you had to go and plug Parallel Convergence, not realizing you set me up for the perfect fucking segue and then ripped the carpet right out from under me. I've been sitting here playing the temporary fun mode of Teamfight Tactics tonight, trying to figure out what the hell sports topic can I talk about that is not going to get me evil glares from at least 2 people that are also on this panel. So, with that said, the Super Bowl is out. And I would give myself an evil glare if I talked about a particular controversy that is going on through the LCS right now. Now, I've been trying, let me rephrase that. There are people here who have been trying to sell me topics all night, both before we've got on air and while we've been on air. And while I have been pulling the Vince McMahon no-sell of the century, more on that on Spoiler Alert. Here on the NaNN Network Podcast Network.
It's starting to sound like a pipe bomb.
I figured out
that show is in 2 weeks.
I've actually figured out what we're going to talk about, what my topic is going to be tonight. And you're probably sitting here going, well, Andy, get on with it already. What the hell is it going to be?
Yay, skate on with it.
Get on with it.
See, Mr. Broadhurst put in our private chat here, most despised sports team. Given the recent controversy surrounding one team solo bid of the League Championship Series, which we cover in absolute depth on Parallel Convergence here on the NaNN Network Podcast Network, because gimmick infringement is what we do best, because we have nothing to shill but shill itself. And if your name is Inca Cola or Monster, please sponsor me, podcasts at AmericanWhammy.com. I will beat all of you motherfuckers at Gimmick Infringement. I am the CEO of Gimmick Infringement. My topic, and something I want to talk about, is simply put, why is it when people feel that they have a talent, suddenly common sense goes out the window? How many incidents, articles, blogs, things you've talked about on the Broadhurst Watkins Sports Report?
Sports in black and white. I got you, Eric.
Thank you. Where you can summarize it by somebody being an idiot. I don't want to go too deep into what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, right? But I will say this. Some people are idiots. However, there are lines that you do not cross. When you put together a television segment where you attack a team whose players have no involvement whatsoever in this current squash that you're putting on air, because you're stalling for time, because you're having a technical issue, at some point you need to throw the Silver Scrapes on screen on loop and hope for the best, even if it turns out that Silver Scrapes has to roll for 10 minutes long. And if you want further commentary and further elaboration into this subject, we will be talking in depth about the TSM LCS segment tomorrow night, where, needless to say, I hope you're a Jerry Springer fan because there will be plenty of final thoughts on the matter. Plenty. I know that's kind of haphazard and kind of put together and not really what we're going for here, but I don't really have anything else to say tonight.
Well, actually, I can
especially seeing is that's pretty much what's been on my Twitter timeline all day is Riot fucked up a patch and had to roll things back. Tom Brady's not going to Fox until 2024 now, and backlash about the LCS tweet or the LCS segment.
I can actually spin that into a topic. Biggest owner-related controversy, in your opinion?
Hey, Eric, you want to do it with me here?
I mean,
you should throw up the headphone warning.
Uh-oh.
Ready?
I think I am.
Dude!
But honestly, even if we're going with that, there's worse. There's a lot worse.
Okay, we could talk about. We could hold on. This is technically my topic. Technically, I mean Harry's just providing some information and inspiration. Thank you, Harry.
It's what I do. I am the voice of reason.
Allegedly. I had to say it for Eric because he had himself muted, even though we said it at the same time.
Again, heads. It's a thing.
I mean, technically speaking, all three of you said it at the same time. Just Eric and John were both muted.
I didn't see John. We could talk about Dan Snyder, right? Dan Snyder and the Commanders with the funds embezzlement.
And the cheerleaders, and the stadium, and Bank of America.
We could talk about Robert Kraft and Deflategate.
And massage parlors.
Let him talk.
No. He's reinforcing my point. He's perfectly fine.
He's not supposed to be, is the point.
Still got better.
I want to work in a Drew Carey joke here, but I don't think Drew Carey's actually done anything fucked up as the owner of the Sounders.
No, the Sounders have actually been having a pretty good run. Coming up on CONCACAF Champions Cup. CONCACAF. It ain't no fucking league. Get it right.
But since Mr. Nielsen down there is so vibrantly animated,
gonna need a lot more salt than that for this franchise, buddy.
I would like to know his take on the worst owner scandal out there.
Real quick, before he answers it, answer your own question. What do you think it is? You have to pick one.
No, I said my one.
Are you going
I'm going with Sean Khan. I think his mismanagement of the Jaguars is to the point where he should have been. Then again, there's been a lot of mismanagement with a lot of owners in the NFL. I mean, half of them should be forced to sell, in my opinion. But
besides, the real problem is
I'm going to keep it tame and go with Sean Khan.
Besides, the real problem is fuck you, Mark Lamping.
There are worser examples out there, but I will leave them for you guys. Mr. Nielsen.
I often talk about a year when I talk about my number one NFL team, 1969. There's another year that resonates with another team in another league that is known by a good friend of mine on Facebook, Melanie Monroe. Shoutouts. Oh, Canada. The year is 1967. The name Harold Ballard. The man who single-handedly fucked over. Yes, I'll drop that F-bomb all day when I mention this guy. He fucked over those Toronto Maple Leafs so hard.
How hard was it?
They still can't beat the Boston Bruins.
So you're saying that
who else can single-handedly implode their entire team roster trying to make a buck and then cannot make said buck?
So you're saying that there's nothing that can be said about the Toronto Maple Leafs that hasn't already been said about Afghanistan, that it's been bombed down and depleted?
I'm sorry, Leafs fans. I'm sorry, but
Eric, Eric knows where I stole that from, which is why
Hey.
he can't fucking keep himself together.
Harry seems like he's got better, though.
Poor Harry is. I can sympathize with the what am I doing with my life.
Eric, you probably know where I'm about to go with this.
Think I do?
Because
Continue.
you know what my favorite sport is.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite sport is baseball.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2 words for you when it comes to horrible business owners. Marge Shot.
Yeah.
Or as, may he rest in peace, the great Papa Joe Chevalier used to say, Marge, she ought to be shot. Let's start with the racism and the anti-Semitism. Let's continue with the poor performance treatment of her players. Let's then factor in the fact that she sent flowers that were sent to her as a gift to a grieving widow.
I mean, a lot of these are proven, and yeah, for all those that want to say, oh, well, what about 1990 and yada, yada, yada? Yeah, Reds fans even back then.
You remember how Donald Sterling got ran out of the NBA?
Yup.
Yeah, the same thing happened to Marge Shot with Major League Baseball. MLB made her sell the team. She was that miserable of a representative. Bud Selig made her sell the team.
And didn't he make her sell right after he took over for Faye Vincent, who replaced the late Bart, well, not so much anymore, Bart Giamatti as commissioner? So right early on in his tenure, after he gave up his ownership of the Brewers.
Selig was a fellow owner who became commissioner and said that you are a poor representation of this league. You need to be gone. And then we've all seen what a dumpster fire the Selig commissionership of Major League Baseball turned into. When Bud Selig thinks you suck, you fucking suck. I don't often quote Jim Cornette, but Eric knows exactly where this one's going. Thank you. Fuck
you.
Bye. Mr. Watkins, who's your pick?
It was already mentioned, and I mean, again, scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal. If it was just the cheerleading thing, hey, you gotta go. If it was just a toxic environment, if it was just violating league rules about a salary cap, if it was just bringing about mediocrity to your franchise, now you're looking at federal charges and you're getting a notorious bank involved to try to sell your team, and you want to be that much of a dick about it to get a couple billion over asking price? Yeah, your team nickname is redacted for a reason. Lord knows how in depth
like
we
my
went into
nickname
about
is
that.
Blue for a reason.
Exactly. Lord knows how many times we went in depth on that on various shows about that whole situation. I mean, take a hint. Seriously, I get why Jerry Jones would want you around. I get why Stan Kroenke would want you around, because you get to be their own personal little whipping boy. But for the love of everything that's holy, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing with fandom? If the state of Virginia in 2023 isn't giving you a green light for shit, writing's on the wall. Just saying.
Are you guys surprised I didn't actually mention Belichick and Kraft?
Again, Kraft in some ways is a man after my own heart. I mean, he wants to go ahead and vacation in Florida and visit certain establishments. He needs a handler. I mean, I'd be available, but that's beside the point.
So this actually brings me full circle, right? Because, surprise, it was me, Dio, all along.
Boo this man.
My pick isn't actually Duval. It isn't actually Shad Khan.
Ron Zook?
No, worse. I'm going to the esports angle with this one. And I get to tie this into a lovely conversation I get to have tomorrow, and conversations I've had in the past on Parallel Convergence. Andy Reginald Din.
Oh, yeah.
The owner of Team Solo Mid. We wouldn't need to have a show tomorrow talking about the LCS and their mishandling of a broadcast segment if Din wasn't accused of verbal and physical abuse to his team players in the past. If he didn't have a head coach who embezzled money and attempted to poach players, an owner who has been sanctioned by Riot Games themselves to the point where Riot had to go into TSM's organization and say, here is an anonymous tip line. If any of the following shit happens, and it's a laundry list, believe me, if any of this shit happens in this organization, please call us. We want a reason to get this subbitch out of this league. The problem with Reginald is that TSM is an OG team. They are well established. They are a championship pedigree team. What happens when you get teams like that? It's like trying to get, oh my God, the name was just on the tip of my tongue and I lost it. Jerry Brown? The guy that owns the Cowboys.
Jerry Jones. That's like trying to get Jerry Jones to sell the Cowboys.
He'd sooner fire Landry. Oh, wait, he did.
Hold on, we have a thing for that.
Shots fired!
Yeah, that was a shots fired, Cowboys fans.
My point by bringing up TSM, by bringing up Andy Din, by bringing up Peter Zhang as a extension of that. This shit is not endemic just to traditional sports. It happens everywhere.
I don't disagree with you.
Neither do I.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you are, right? You could be the owner, the head coach, the GM, the VP of operations, whatever your fancy title may be, with however many zeros come on your paycheck.
Vice President of Talent Relations.
I am the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations and the General Manager of both Raw and SmackDown. People power.
Good old Johnny Laryngitis.
He wasn't kidding. It really is that damn good.
I heard it before. I tried telling you.
That was the first time hearing it. So more on that on Spoiler Alert here on the NaNN Network. It's like we're a fucking CEO of Shilling. That's what it needs to say instead of final thoughts. But I'm in a final thought right now because that's what I'm good at. And I don't have my Jerry Springer music, but we'll have it tomorrow. I guarantee you.
Do me a favor, just I lost it.
There's no C. SHIL. Yeah. Pretty sure it's just SH, not SCH. Yeah, that looks right.
Look here, you son of a bitch. That's how it was spelled in old money. Now, will you go ahead and... Damn it, I lost that sentence. I had something for this.
Oh, your thumb was covering it?
No.
See, I wasn't
because Gilbert Gottfried is a good guy and not an asshole like the people we're talking about right now.
Well, that actually was going to lead me into a very interesting plug joke, but I would get yelled at.
Family show so far.
Let Brian finish so we can get to the closing segment.
4 words. Come on, gentlemen. I know you know them. Say it with me. Don't
be
penis.
Don't be a dick. How fucking difficult is it to be? Or is it to not be a dick?
You'd be surprised now.
How difficult is it to just treat people with respect? How difficult is it to realize time and place? And this is where I am going to shut up because otherwise we're going to double the length of this show about me talking about tomorrow night's topic.
I will leave you guys with this thought here. And especially since the man whose voice impression I was just doing is a notorious asshole himself.
True story.
Sadly, with fame comes ego. With ego comes spite. With spite comes lashing out. A lot of these people that are doing these things, specifically the owners of these companies, are doing it because they are so insecure in themselves that they take out their insecurities on those around them. And unfortunately, it also extends specifically for some reason into the offseason for a lot of the players to the people that are under them. I take you back to the Joe Mixon story we covered last week on BWSR.
Oh, no, that's my topic for next week. I already got my topic for next week.
All right. I believe it's time to take us into the big finish, John.
Oh, hey, big finish. All right. Now that we got all riled up with that, it's time to release some aggression. And, of course, it would be 4 seconds without the very event that named this show because, yeah, we are some salty sports fans around here. And
Chiron.
I got to see this one in person with the man vertically above me, live on the ice in 2001. Yes, we leave you with the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Islanders.
In the fight of the week.
Go back full screen, Mr. Watkins. Send us back.
Yep.
Bring us back up because there's supposed to be a Chiron here, and you know what it is. There you go, sir.
On behalf of John Nielsen.
You do realize we're supposed to talk about the fight after it happens, right?
Oh, I was thinking literally going to good fight, good night, and that's the show.
It's a pilot, folks. We're still trying to figure this out.
As I said in Discord, which clearly you did not read my message.
I literally got home from work and hopped on here.
I sent it to you on Messenger as well. You have no excuse.
13-hour work day, but go ahead.
We air the clip. We discuss the clip. We then sign off.
Okay. So.
Sorry, folks. Pilot episode, like Brian just said.
So, here's your setup. Puck drops. 4 seconds later, this happens. Let's go to the videotape.
But they've got games in hands as well. That is Kyle Raymond. He's getting set to drop the puck at center ice. He's working tonight with Garrett Rank, Mitch Hunt, and Travis Toomey are your linesmen. The Tampa Bay Lightning are coming in on a 7-game point streak. Points in 8 of their last 9. They're coming in hot. The Islanders are coming in exhausted. This is game 12 of a season-opening 13 straight on the road, and they've lost their last 2. And right off the bat, we're going to see Zdeno Chara go with Pat Maroon. Just as the puck drops, the veteran Chara in his 24th season drops him with the big ring.
This is not the first time they fought. We saw them a couple of years ago do it, and anybody who goes with Zdeno Chara gets a ton of respect. You see how careful Maroon is, because Chara, 6'9", has got a huge reach advantage over him. And how about that for setting the table? You know that Zdeno Chara wants and is a big-time leader on that team. He doesn't do this very often. And look at Pat Maroon. He's welcome to oblige. I got to hand it to Pat. Nobody wants to fight Chara. Still the biggest, meanest guy when he wants to be in the entire league.
New York, number 33. Tampa, number 14. 5 minutes each, fighting.
So, good fight?
Especially considering it was Maroon, which I gotta give him some slack. I loved him on the All-Star coverage. Zdeno Chara. Now, keep in mind, for those as a frame of reference, he was playing for the team that drafted him in the Islanders, full circle and finishing his career. He is about almost the exact same height and weight as LeBron James. No lie. 6'8", 6'9", 260 pounds. Think of him now as Gordie Howe was back in his day, being 6 feet 200 against most guys going, 5'7", 5'8", 160 or thereabouts. Long-time defender, Eastern European powerhouse. You don't scrap with him too easily. Yeah, that was a good way to set the tone. It's like, look, you want some, we're here, we're tired, we got to open the new barn eventually. Hey, this is how it happens.
Mr. Watkins, on a scale of great fight to really, what's your rating? If you check the private chat, there's actual listings.
Yeah, I'm going to say not great fight, but good fight. I will give that a good fight.
Mr. Espinoza.
Apparently we have honestly,
Personal bias is allowed.
The personal bias, I would say, actually, I can't even use personal bias here. Honestly, I think that fight was bad. Like, if you're going to go with Chara, fucking go with Chara.
You could not
lose. Go ahead.
You could not pay me enough.
Well, yeah, fair. None of us would probably want to actually take Chara on in a fight. I don't think
you could pay me enough to cover some of my medical bills afterwards.
I've got a chance at possibly going even.
So I
put a famous wrestling line. You got no chance.
No.
Given my build in history.
Look, I get that you were all Liam Neeson. You've acquired a certain set of skills. But seriously, I
know I ain't stepping up to a dude who's 6'9" and 260 pounds. Okay, let's look at this. Let's look at this.
But my point is
finish.
Right,
finish first.
My point is, if you're going to fight a guy, actually fight a guy, not this whole
skate and swing.
He looked like he had the guy up on the ropes and was just taking a couple of pot shots while trying to catch his breath mid-match. You know what I'm talking about, Harry.
So you're saying bad fight, 2 stars.
I'm saying bad fight, yeah, because legitimately, okay, great. I love to see action straight off the puck drop, right? That was great. I mean, hell, that's kind of where we came up with the name of the show, right? 4 seconds. 1956 on the clock, right?
Very eponymous, if you will.
But
Eponymous?
No, he had it right the first time. Like I said, if you're gonna fight a guy. Don't put up this whole. It looked like a fucking Jigglypuff was using double slap. To no effect.
Okay. There are so many reasons why I was able to get that reference, and one of them involves a card game that I'm actually playing on Discord, where all I'm going to say is double slap and waifus. I will shut up from there.
Family show!
Point of view of that topic, sir.
Okay. I'm writing it down.
Right.
You're going to force me to talk about dreams.
I'm going to go ahead and go with
about waifus and servers that you may or may not have been invited by me to, because that's the only way I can imagine you would know about these things.
Oh, no.
But this is a family show, so we're moving on from this point.
Please and thank you.
Thank you, almighty voice of reason, allegedly.
I'm trying. God help me, I'm trying. All right, I'm going to go with okay fight because I actually do kind of agree with Ryan. Like, I get the idea.
Ryan!
You said bad fight. I'm going to tell you why I agree with you, but I disagree with you.
You said Ryan.
I said Brian.
I totally heard that as Brian. You must have cut out.
There was a small cutout.
I definitely said Brian.
There was also definitely a small cutout.
Anyways, the point being is I agree in the fact that if you're going to fight a guy, you probably want to step up and actually fight him. But I'm going to give Maroon credit for having the balls to step to Chara, because I can guarantee you that would not be me ever anywhere in any universe. That being said, I do think that there are better examples of NHL hockey fights that we will get to, so I don't want to set the bar too high and or too low to start the show. So for me, this was only an okay fight. It's made memorable by the fact that it happened right off of the opening puck drop. Mr. Nielsen, you wrap us up.
And that's why I give it 2.5 stars. It's an okay fight, but what makes it okay is the fact that puck, drop, boom, fight. And yeah, you don't step with Chara unless you mean you're going to step with Chara. That identity line means freaking business when they're out on the ice at the very beginning. That grudge that led to that fight was brewing since the playoffs of the previous season. This was the first matchup that had the chance. Islanders be salty. And I would say almost as salty as 1985. Or pretty damn close to it. So yeah, they got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They're going to set the pace at Amalie Arena. Because let's face it, Tampa Bay at home ain't an easy place to win at when you're the road team. And we didn't get a chance to be home yet in the season, so we're doubly salty. So, of course, we're going to go up there and throw it out.
1985?
The end of the 4-year run?
84, good sir. The thirst for their first. Yeah.
I'm a little bit tired from a 13-hour work day today for the first time in a very long time. As if you couldn't tell by the... But yeah, a little bit of do-si-do. Right when one man goes down, that's when they start decking. Yeah, not enough action, but to be in there and be like, oh, I see who's on the line. I see what's going on. And then heads drop, gloves are off. Let's go right to get go. Like, I saw that cone a mile away, and man, to see my first NHL game in person, for that to happen, I still think there's a lot better out there. And Harry's mentioned one I think we're going to use next week that's going to get a bit higher of a rating. A true classic.
We go to one of the most infamous fights in NHL history, mostly because it's a series of them culminating in the one that we're going to show. It's Fight Night in Detroit next time on 4 Seconds.
And on behalf of, now we can finally close it, yes?
Yes.
I didn't think so.
Been denied by somebody whose name's in blue.
The fuck did I miss?
One of these things is not like the others when it comes to the headlines, and that's for a reason.
No, I already gave mine. I said that, I'm giving it bad fight. And then Harry expounded off of that. I gave mine. I gave
he already gave it 2 stars.
But, I mean, you guys sitting here and Eric forgetting to, put the star rating in was actually just enough time that I needed for something to happen in the background. So, successful stall tactic was successful.
And inadvertent. I mean, hey, we can't all be star walking.
Don't give me any ideas.
No monkey for you.
That wasn't meant as a monkey.
Where's my exit studio button?
On behalf of myself, John Nielsen.
I'm the voice of reason, allegedly, Harry Broadhurst.
The HNIC of the NANP and Eric Watkins.
And I'm at the Adhesion on Twitter. I have, I'm the CEO of Hot Takes, especially when it comes to League of Legends. I am Brian Espinosa, the guy whose name is blue for a reason, apparently.
And to quote the great Judge Mills Lane, good fight, good night.
You're getting an X.
Do we have a clip for this? I feel like we should have a clip for this.
We don't have a clip.
We'll have one next week.
Yeah, we don't have a clip for this yet, and it wasn't Judge Mills Lane.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
Yeah, but it wasn't Judge Mills Lane that said "good fight, good night."
It was It was the announcer.
I'm Johnny Gomez, and I'm Nick Diamond. Good fight, good night.